meeting to order. Will those in attendance please rise? Join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all of our friends and neighbors and colleagues in joining us in this regularly scheduled March 2nd, 2020 City Council meeting. As you come in, there's a sign-in sheet on the desk, which would be to your right. Please sign your name. Before we get started, I'd like to send condolences to Chief Hepner, who couldn't be with us tonight because his mother passed. So this council and this city's heart is with him, and we pray for him and his family. Also simultaneously like to ask Corey Murray to stand in as Sergeant at Arms tonight. Can you do that? Great. Well, we don't have any law enforcement with us, so Corey's a veteran. I'm your guy. Okay, so if you can simultaneously report the news and anything gets funny out there.
Or up here.
All right, very good.
Yeah, why not? Keep things exciting.
Can I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilmember Bell. Briner.
Here.
Veer.
Here.
Morrissey.
Here.
Sharp. Here. Stuccio.
Here.
Pratt. Here. Zeiser.
Here.
And Mayor Stockford.
Here.
All present, or absent Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Michelle. As we also know, it seems like there's a lot of tragedy lately. Our city clerk, Katie Price, isn't with us tonight because of some health issues. So we had to take quick action because of the upcoming election. And Michelle Lauren graciously, and I think also apprehensively, agreed to step into the position of deputy city clerk for now. So I would entertain a motion to appoint Michelle deputy city clerk.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Veer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. We'll move into approval of agenda. Does the city manager or anyone else have any changes to make to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I think there are two. Would like to add under communication and petitions, item E, domestic harmony update. I believe we have a representative from Domestic Harmony here to speak.
Okay.
And then the second item would be item D under new business, Hillsdale Municipal Airport East Parallel Taxiway proposal.
East Parallel Taxiway proposal.
Yes.
Okay. Any more changes, ladies and gentlemen? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda with item E on communications, domestic harmony update, and item D in new business, airport taxiway parallel grant proposal.
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Briner. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilmember Briner.
Yes.
Veer.
Yes.
Morrissey.
Yes.
Sharp.
Yes.
Stuccio.
Yes.
Pratt.
Yes.
Zeiser.
Yes.
And Mayor Stockford.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you, Michelle. We'll move on to public comment on agenda items only. During this time, the podium will be open. Please limit your trips to one to the podium. Please limit your time to 5 minutes. State your name if you like, and understand per our city council rules that there won't be any correspondence between council and the person at the podium while they're at the podium. And please, if you have comments, make sure that they have a direct tie to something that's present on the agenda tonight. Podium's now open.
Jack McLean. Under new business A, the CIP plan, I think in the TIFA, there's a miscalculation in their first row. It says 120,000, but if you add the 5 years up, it only comes to 100,000. The other question I had was, I see they're doing something at the path. I'm not sure any of the path is actually in the Tifa district. I know it's awful close, but I don't think it is in the Tifa district, any of the path. The neighborhood enhancement program, I'm taking it that's the one that was spoke about last year. I made a recommendation about a piece of property. I just hope that that gets looked at when that time comes around. I know they are working on that property, or trying to, so thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Any more public comment on agenda items? Seeing none, we'll close the podium and we'll move into the consent agenda. Present on the consent agenda, approval of bills, city claims February 20th, BPU claims February 20th, payroll February 20th, election commission of February 13th, Hillsdale College noise variance request for Central Hallapalooza, Hillsdale College TCO 2020-03 alley closure for Central Hallapalooza, January 2020 financials. Is there any changes or discussion on any item in the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Zeiser to approve the consent agenda as written. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilmember Veer,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
Stuchel,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Zeiser,
Yes.
Mayor Stockford,
Yes.
and Councilmember Briner.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you, City Clerk. We'll move into communications and petitions. Item A, Hillsdale Hospital Anderson Pavilion. I don't see anybody from the hospital here tonight to speak on this item. Hold on, let me get caught up in my packet here. Here we go. Oh, this is really nice. There's a press release. Hillsdale Hospital to build a pavilion named for retiring CEO, which would be Duke Anderson. And it's funded by hospital auxiliary and sale of engravable bricks. Oh, this is going to be really exciting, so good luck to them. Item B on communications petitions is the Anderson Pavilion order form. Looks like for the bricks, it looks like for $100 you can get a 4x8 engraved brick. And as was said before, this is what is funding the pavilion project. So if anybody's interested, there is an order form in the packet. Item C, Neighborhood Enhancement Program Grant Award. It's just an email from Tanya Young. Thank you for your Neighborhood Enhancement Program Round 5 submission. We are pleased to inform you that we will be reserving a total of $30,000 in neighborhood enhancement funding for your agency, and that your NEP champion is Angela Ship. Your champion will be contacting you regarding any modifications and or provisions to the scope that will be imposed on the funding parameters. Mr. Mackey?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And this is just to remind the council, we spoke about this many months ago, as Mr. McLean had noted, where this $30,000 is going to be used and lent out to residents that are trying to improve their homes, whether it be roofing or siding or handicap ramp, those type things. So we're hoping that the $30,000 will equate to 5 or 6 homes that are updated. We just got this approval, which is great. In fact, $30,000 is the most they award. So we're very pleased about starting this process and getting the parameters set up and moving forward with it.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. Any questions or discussions on this? Seeing none, we'll move on in the agenda. Item D, more Comcast updates. So we'll move on to item E, domestic harmony update.
Hello, my name is Hannah Jordan, and I serve as the Executive Director at Domestic Harmony. I apologize for the absence of my presence last month to answer your questions. I know that you voted in a contract of $6,000 in support of Domestic Harmony, and we are truly thankful for that continued support. So just out of the last fiscal year, we housed 96 people at Domestic Harmony for our emergency shelters. Let me back up a little bit. And our services that we provide are emergency shelter, supportive counseling, group counseling, child advocacy, legal advocacy, and prevention education. So with the emergency shelter, it was 43 adults and 54 children. 26% of those individuals were from the 49242 zip code. I can't break it down as in the city residents. We did update our forms so that in the future, next year, I can be able to report to you all of the who is actually in the city residents. For our outreach clients, so that would be under legal advocacy, a group counseling and supportive counseling. We had a total of 155, and 49% of those were from the Hillsdale zip code, and 51% of our 504 hotline callers were also from the Hillsdale zip code. We go into this isn't from the fiscal year 2019, but this is from just a school year in Hillsdale schools. We went and did a prevention education with, I believe it's sophomores and juniors at Hillsdale High School, and we served 106 students, and out of those 106 students, 28% of them reported that they have witnessed domestic violence in their home. 40% of them have witnessed teen dating violence among their peers, and 15% of them have been a victim of teen dating violence. Do you guys have any questions about what we do or our statistics?
Any questions or comments? Councilman Briner.
I do. What was the total number for the 49242 that you serviced in 2019?
For which part?
You said you serviced 96 total, 43 adults, 54 children, and then you
Yep.
have a number.
Yep. So it would have been 97 was a total of 43 and 54 combined, and then it was 26% of that was Hillsdale.
What do you, is there other townships and cities in Hillsdale that contract with you, and what amounts do they contract?
Yep, so we have 10 townships that in 2 other cities that do contract with us. It's a range of how much they contribute, starting at $250. The other highest contract, I believe, is at $1,000.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Councilman Sharp.
You do want to remember, though, that some of the victims, they're not going to go local. They're going to want to get as far away from the person that's abusing them as they can. It's the same way some of the people we have come down here could come from Jackson, Detroit, Lansing. They're not going to turn anybody away. I did find it interesting when you talked about teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about that, where you're reaching out to them and finding out, because abuse does start early. And if it continues, they're going to be abused the rest of their life. And it's good that you're reaching out that way. And yeah, we do put out the most money, and it's a shame on other communities don't step up and put some money out too, even the county commissioners. Why haven't they reached out and put some money out too? That's something they should use, because it's countywide. What we use here, it's not only the county, but the state uses it. And God bless you for being here. I mean, we have toured the home. I remember I took a few of the council members there, and we ran across his family. And the young man we talked to just had a smile on his face, a normal boy. You would have never known what he was there for, because he felt safe. And that's the first thing we want to make sure those people are in a safe environment. They get them on the road to recovery.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's there for. I wish we never had to use it, but it's the real world out there. And I do appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions, comments? Thank you so much,
Thanks so much.
for coming tonight. Kristen, do you have something to add?
I just wanted to say I've been coming to city council for about 37 years now. And I just want to thank you guys not just for support, but for doing this work. I have to admit, it wouldn't be me, it wouldn't be my first choice, but I'm so glad that there are people that will come and do this work for the city. And I know you have to study, and you have to pay attention, and decide how to vote on everything. And some of you do it year after year. Some of you have been here quite a long while. I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Any discussion on this item, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight, and I'll echo what was said by Councilman Sharp. Thank you for what you do. We appreciate it. We'll move on in the agenda. There's no introduction and adoption of ordinances, so we'll move into old business. MDOT third-party agreement revision. Dave?
Sure, thank you, Mayor. This is something that the council had previously seen, as it said, October 2019. There were a couple changes that MDOT wanted to this contract. And typically how this works is the city is a recipient of the funds, and we work in conjunction with Key Opportunities for this mobility management grant. So again, MDOT had two changes they wanted to the contract, and so that this is all that does is approve those changes, which was, one is reducing the amount from 40,000 to 35,000, and then putting the city on as the agency name versus Key Opportunity.
Any questions for Dave? Okay. The recommendation is I recommend the council approve the contract as presented, pending legal review, and authorize the mayor and the clerk to sign on behalf of the city. Any discussion, ladies and gentlemen? Do I have a motion to approve the contract as presented?
So moved.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Veer, to approve the agenda as, approve the contract as presented, pending legal review, of course. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilmember Morrissey?
Yes.
Sharp?
Yes.
Stuccio?
Yes.
Pratt?
Yes.
Sizer?
Yes.
Mayor Stockford?
Yes.
Councilmember Briner?
Yes.
And Veer?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you, Michelle. We'll move on to old business item B, homeless task force. So I just wanted to give you guys a brief update since it's been a couple weeks since we talked about this, and Michelle was gracious enough to bring up the applications we've received for this task force so far. I've got 7 of them here with me. I'm going to give it a couple more weeks. We'll do appointments at the next meeting, but I would say I've probably had 24 people reach out to me about interest in serving on this, and like I said, I've got about 7 so far back. So I don't think it would be wise to set a total member number at this point until we see what we're really looking at here. We've got, and of course, as Mr. Mackey mentioned, the chief's also going to be involved in this, so he hasn't submitted an application. We know his bona fides. But we've got some really good people here. There's some city employees. We've got the McKinney-Vento grant administrator for branch Hillsdale, Lenawee, and Jackson County that's interested in serving on it. Of course, people from the Warming Center, people with master's degrees in various, here's a doctor. So anyways, impressive stuff. You guys have any questions or
I just
comments?
have one. Do you have a defined scope, or is that going to be your first task? What this task force is going to be about?
Yeah. Pretty much the first task, I believe, will be to define a mission statement. But really, the way and my hand can't be on this alone, of course, so I don't want to micromanage it. But the way I see it is, we've had all this conflicting kind of theories as to how the homeless population, was multiplied by 20 in a year. So I think really the first thing is actually getting some accurate information about what we're looking at here.
Okay.
And it's really odd because, like I said, I've talked to people up at CAA, at Community Action Agency, and they'll tell you one thing. The people at DHS will tell you another thing. The police department will tell you another thing. The people at the warming center. I've heard 10 different theories about how we got to this point where we're at. Also, there's still a lot of competing ideas as to are these people, are they Hillsdale City residents, or have they sojourned here, or but really that's primarily what I'm hoping that
So
how we start out is
Fact finding for first,
is
okay.
to do some fact finding and say, okay, this is how we got to this point. Now what do we do past this point? So, and the fact that law enforcement's going to be involved in the conversation is very, very, to me, encouraging because I don't feel like they have been thus far.
Yep.
So, any more questions, comments? Okie dokie. Seeing none, we'll move on. New business item A. This is the City of Hillsdale's Capital Improvement Plan. Alan?
So as the memo that was included in the packet states, it is a requirement of the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act that the city update and adopt a capital improvement plan for, in order to continue to facilitate and support the master plan. So the way that, the process that we've adopted is to contact all of the department heads, because each department does their own capital plan. So I take their information plus other information that we've done or that we've gathered through various studies and committees and consolidate it all. And then the planning commission reviews it, holds a public hearing, and then recommends it to you for adoption. So that's where we're at. And as far as the two items, I'd have to go back and look at the amount that Mr. McLean brought up. I've been through those tables a dozen times, and it's very possible that I screwed up one of the formulas. But and then as far as that trailhead, that was something that came out of the Tifa placemaking study. It was would be a potential project that would be done in conjunction with the city to create a trailhead on the edge of the Tifa district to connect the downtown with the bike trail, so that bikers or hikers that are coming along the trail would have a quick and easy route and a place to secure their bikes in order to stop into the downtown and for lunch or whatever. So that's what that project is.
Okay. Thank you, Alan. Any questions for Alan? Thank you, Alan. Do I have a motion to adopt the submitted capital improvement plan for 2020 through 2026?
So moved.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Morrissey, seconded by Councilman Stuchel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will move on to item B, USDA Rural Grant Set Public Hearing. Get through the 50 pages of capital improvement plan. Sorry, guys. Lord in heaven, my Lord. Okay, here we go. Police Department intends to file an application for a USDA Rural Development Community Facilities Grant. The grant is for a new police vehicle, along with the associated equipment. Police department is eligible for up to 40% federal assistance in the purchase of a police vehicle. We got to set a public hearing for this. We've used this grant before to get things, so it's been helpful in the past. Staff's recommending we set a public hearing for Monday, March 16th, 2020. Any discussion? And entertain a motion to set the public hearing for March 16th, 2020 at 7.
Support.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Veer, seconded by Councilman Briner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have a public hearing set for this USDA rule grant for March 16th, which will be our next meeting. We'll move on to item C, Hillsdale Municipal Airport Fuel Facility Proposal. Dave? I also see Ginger's here, so.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. This is the construction management piece of the fuel relocation, which includes 2 tanks, one for jet fuel and one for just aviation fuel. If you recall, the project came in just shy of $600,000, and council approved that. So this is the overseeing that project. The cost of these services is $14,975. I believe our cost share for the entire project is about $30,000 that we're paying out of the whole $600,000. So we just are asking council to approve the RS&H contract to oversee construction.
Okay, any questions for Dave? Thank you, Dave. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agreement for professional engineering services with RS&H Michigan, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Stuchel, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt. May I please have a roll call vote? City Clerk?
Councilmember Sharp?
Yes.
Stuccio?
Yes.
Pratt?
Yes.
Zeiser?
Yes.
Mayor Stockford?
Yes.
Councilmember Briner?
Yes.
Veer?
Yes.
And Morrissey?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you, Michelle. We will move on to item D in new business, airport parallel taxiway. Ginger? Dave? Both of you?
I'll read what my summary is because I don't think Ginger has it, and then she can add to that. But I do want to congratulate Ginger and make all of you aware we wouldn't be talking about this grant if it wasn't for Ginger's hard work in networking with the Federal Aviation Administration representative in Michigan and really having Hillsdale at heart. But you guys have a copy, and this will go in the packet once we update it. But it says the Hillsdale Municipal Airport had a meeting with representatives of MDOT, Office of Aeronautics, and the Federal Aviation Administration on February 19th, 2020 at the Michigan Association of Airport Executives Conference. Hillsdale was acknowledged for the outstanding promotion of the airport and has been chosen to receive a supplemental grant of over $1 million towards to complete the Phase 2 parallel taxiway project in the airport capital improvement plan. The city of Hillsdale will be responsible for approximately $60,000 or 5% of the project cost. As a design portion of the project with RS&H totals $93,279, and that's what this item here is to approve the design contract with RS&H. Construction of the taxiway would begin in 2021. But so we're very excited from an airport standpoint, bringing in another $1 million to expand our parallel taxiway. And Ginger's been very critical on promoting the airport. And as it said, Ginger at this meeting on February 19th was actually pointed out and asked to stand up and talking about, by the FAA representative, talking about the good things going on in Hillsdale. And I just want to thank Ginger for her hard work on that. Ginger, if you want to add to that.
Well, it was $1 million day, so we're very excited. And I met John Mayfield, who was the manager of the FAA Detroit Airport's district office, at this same meeting a year ago. I introduced myself, invited him to the airport. He came out. We had our RS&H engineer representative there. City Manager Mackey was there. We took him out to lunch. We toured the airport. And then I constantly bugged him with pictures all year long. This is what we're doing. We're doing this and that and everything. And it paid off. He was very happy, and we were singled out of many, many, many airports that wanted this money. So we were very lucky.
Awesome.
So, yeah, so we're going right along.
And Ginger, could you just explain to council and the public what the parallel taxiway, the benefit of it and what it'll
Right,
be used for?
parallel taxiway, that is a mouthful. But we have the runway, and we have a taxiway that the airplanes can be on when they're on the ground to get out to the runway. So they're not on the runway when other airplanes are taking off and landing. We have a partial taxiway right now that was built, probably 4.5, 5 years ago now, that gets them out to our west end of the runway 10, but to get to the other end, we didn't have anything, so they'd have to taxi on to the runway. So this is part of our layout plan. It's been on the plan for years, and this is quite a large part of it. It's about 1,200 feet that we're going to be doing with a connector that connects to the runway. So if you are on the runway, you can get off onto the taxiway. And it's a safety issue with airports, and it's just a big piece of our puzzle to get this whole thing fixed up that'll eventually get us out to the new apron.
Any questions for Ginger?
Well, I'm
Councilman
waiting
Mitchell?
for David for Ginger, I'm not sure. I'm just questioning the engineering on this. I mean, we're just gonna put a runway in, correct?
That is
I mean-
cor-
I mean, I'm
runway and
I'm just
and
questioning, I
taxiway.
mean, I don't know the details of the engineering, but to me, it's a couple soil samples. You're pouring concrete, you're gonna have some rebar. I guess I'm struggling on the cost of the engineering part of it.
There are some special requirements due to the aviation aspect of it. In fact, I have, and Ginger will attest to this, the previous contract for the $14,095, I was hoping to actually bring that in-house with our engineer. MDOT Aero, our representative, recommended not to do that because of the requirements, special requirements of the FAA. So there are special requirements involved. I will say, though, I have brought up with MDOT and our city engineer looking at doing the construction side of this to kind of control that cost. Another aspect of it is with the FAA money involved, they actually require a third-party evaluation of the cost to make sure that they are reasonable. So that, I believe that will be done on this as well.
I have a technical question for the pilot.
Sure.
So a runway, I assume, I mean, it's not like a road. I assume there's expansion joints and stuff so you don't get buckling. I mean, am I correct?
There is, and then we have, we just did, what is it called, where we go in and crack seal. We
Yep.
crack sealed the runway just this past summer,
Yep.
actually fall. And we're constantly checking for
Yeah.
cracks and different things. Now, this taxiway, I think one of the reasons it is a little more expensive perhaps than if you just saw a flat line is the run-up area on 2-8, which is where that one's gonna come down and then down to the T-hangers. There's quite a drop-off.
Oh,
There's gonna be quite a bit of grading
Okay.
that has to go
Okay.
on right there.
okay, that'll justify that too. Okay. It looks flat to me, but.
It looks flat until you get out there. Go walk out there, I'll take you out. You can see it, so,
Awesome.
thank you.
I'm good.
Any more?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. I know Ginger gets lots of compliments, but the airport's one of the things I love to point to because I was on council 6 years ago when we pulled the airport into the scope of public services, when we went out there and said, we've got to do something with this airport. And when we formed the Airport Advisory Committee, which Ginger was a founding member of, and when we brought Dave on, and it's just amazing to see the changes that have taken place out there. It's just really, really to the credit of a few people. Ginger's one of those people that
And
has.
Scott Purry, don't forget Scott.
Don't forget Scott,
Couldn't do it without him.
Mr. Mackey too, and Jason, and it's just the transformation's been incredible, and it's something that I wish more of our residents would go out there And I wish more people would have the benefit of being able to make the comparisons to where we were at 6 years ago to where it is now, because it's incredible. So, thank you, Ginger. Okay, so do we need a? Okay. Staff recommends City Council approve the agreement for professional engineering that's what we just, oh, okay. $93,279 to design the east parallel taxiway. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Stuchel, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt. May I please have a roll call vote, City Clerk?
Councilmember Stuchel,
Yes.
Pratt,
Yes.
Sizer,
Yes.
Mayor Stockford,
Yes.
Councilmember Briner,
Yes.
Veer,
Yes.
Morrissey,
Yes.
and Sharp.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you, Michelle. Alrighty, we've got no proclamations tonight. Got a couple of appointments to make. First one is another appointment to the Local Advisory Committee. Mrs. Dorcas Stagelman, who is also a Dial-A-Ride user. And then Mr. Pitts. Is this a reappointment, Mr. Pitts?
Yeah.
To the International Property Maintenance Code. I really like Mr. Pitt's application. Sky, describe any previous activities related to government. I have been on this board. Please explain why you would be interested in serving. I can help. Please explain your understanding of the city of Hillsdale. I really like Hillsdale. So, I don't mean to pick on them, but I wish more people would fill out their application like that. Do I have a motion to make both of these appointments simultaneously?
So move.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Briner, seconded by Councilman Veer to appoint Dorcas Stegelman and Alan Pitts. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. We'll move on to general public comment. During this time, same rules apply. Podium will be open. Got 5 minutes. Please state your name if you'd like. Please limit your trips to one to the podium. Please understand per our council rules, there will be no correspondence between council and the person at the podium while they're at the podium. And during this time, you can speak on anything you like.
John Smith, Somerset. Hey, I just want you. I know most of you on this board here, so I just wanted to say thank you to the people that I have spoke to. You guys are very transparent, easy to communicate with. Most of you I've talked to on the phone, and you guys pick up the phone. You don't get that in every form of government, as you guys know. I just want to say thank you for that transparency. Even the department heads, even someone like Jake or Scott from the police department, that very pleasant to talk to and easy to get a hold of. I think that's a positive that our community has here. And another thing I want to bring up is that, as you guys, probably most of you already know, we at the county level approved as a gun sanctuary community. So I just want to remind everybody about that. I know that's going to be, that's always going to be kind of at the doorstep of the city as well. So I just wanted to let everybody know if nobody hasn't already heard. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, John. Thank you for your compliments to city staff, too. I would agree with you.
Well, I got some good news that I think it might help us in Hillsdale. I'm not sure how you all feel about it, but our choir, I was sharing earlier, our choir was asked to sing the national anthem, our church choir, at the NASCAR event coming up in August for here. A lot of people, but they also asked me if I would help in working with the Chamber of Commerce and with you folks to possibly bring some type of hub here to Hillsdale that would also open up avenues for NASCAR and maybe some financial avenues for us as well. So I'd ask that you be in prayer for that. This was all brought about through prayer and through a lot of help from Shanae Stockford and the mayor. And I just want to thank, again, the council. There was something that happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago where we were awarded something. and it ended up that it was a false, fake award. And I shared that, and I was so embarrassed because it was so fake and so wrong, but yet this is not. And so the marketing team over there is working with me, and I'd love to somehow incorporate how this can be used for the benefit of Hillsdale, because I really do love you folks. God bless.
Thank you, Pastor Prince. Any more public comment?
Well, since Pastor Mike here got up here and said what he did, I also want to commend him. He has been putting on a grieving program at his church, and you would be surprised how many people have been coming there, you know, and I think it's a wonderful thing that he's doing for our community. He has, you know, you don't think about people just like our police chief now losing his mother. You know, he's going to be going through a grieving problem. Some people lose their cats and dogs and go through grieving problems. Some of them, you know, lose a loved one, a close child or wife or husband. And we need people like this in our community. And I think, you know, Mike here has opened the door, and it's something that is new, I think, to our community as far as at least being pronounced out here. And I wanted to just give him a kudos because of what he's doing for our community. And I want to thank each and every one of you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Any more public comment?
Jack McLean. I've been asking around about this survey that was sent out about the vacant land uptown. I haven't found anybody that got a survey yet. I've asked, I actually even talked to this company about if they had a mailing list or anything. Does anybody know? And I know you guys are going to be talking about it pretty soon, but I can't find anybody that got a survey. I know they had the thing at the library, but it also says it was sent out, but I guess I'm not sure how or who to or whatever. I know it was, supposedly it was sent to the business owners, Hillsdale College facility or faculty and the students, but I haven't found anybody, even any of them, that have said they got it. I've talked to a few businesses and they don't know what I'm talking about, so thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Any more public comment? Seeing none, we'll close the podium and we'll move into city manager's report. Dave?
Mayor, I really don't have anything this evening, so I am good. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Dave?
I just want to commend Jake. I go to work at 4:30 in the morning, and to see the city salt trucks out plowing the streets at 4:30 in the morning is a great thing to see. I mean, it was last year or the other years before when I was going to work at that time, you were on your own. You were praying to God to make it to Branch County Line Road, because it was fearful. But now you guys are out there. I see the counties out there. It's what a world of difference it's made, seeing your trucks out there salting the roads at that time in the morning. A lot of people don't realize how bad those roads are at 4:30 in the morning. It is dangerous. But to see your guys out there, I commend you guys. Please tell me it was your guys I was seeing too.
Absolutely, but I don't believe I deserve that credit. My staff does.
Well,
and my foreman.
you're
they do a
pointing them in
great
that
job.
direction. Another thing I want to bring up is the salt you guys are putting down on the sidewalks and stuff over the bridges, which nobody else. That's something noticeable. He's having his crew do now. So it kind of inspires everybody else to make sure they shovel their sidewalks, because if they're doing it there, they're saying, wow, we need to expand out and connect to it. And that's a good thing, what you guys do. And you got your crew out there working, and that's what we wanted to do. See the DPS department out there doing it. Just kind of keep ahead on the snow piles that are in front of those businesses. There was a couple ice mountains out there, and I don't know how you guys got rid of those, but oh my God, they were bad. And it hurts businesses when they lose a couple parking spots in front of it. But You guys have been doing a great job this year. Of course, we haven't been hammered by the winters like we had in the past. It isn't over with yet, but I do appreciate you guys being out there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
You can put those snow piles in front of the bank. Employees park there anyways. I'm guilty too, I mean, but.
Does anybody have any questions for Dave, or are we gonna move to council comment? Let's move on to council comment then. Thanks, Dave. Anybody got anything interesting to share? I would thank Jake too. I had a angry, I wouldn't say angry, but a kind of a disgruntled resident today that contacted me about some issues with their street, and got a hold of Jake. Jake got right a hold of her, and she got back a hold of me within a couple hours and said that Jake had called her, and they had a very nice conversation. She was very, very pleased. So I'd also remind everybody, Cottage Inn's having their grand opening tomorrow at the Silos Park. It's really awesome over there. They've done a fabulous job. So I would encourage you guys to drop in maybe at some point tomorrow and check it out, or within the next week or so. Lastly, I'd say this is reading is fun month. So if you guys get an opportunity to talk to, Bailey Early Development or the high school, or not the high school, the high schoolers don't want read to, but the preschools, I do it every year. I did it every year when I was a council person too. So if you guys, I don't know, if you want to go read to some toddlers, then contact the elementary school, Will Carlton, any of those places will make room for you guys. So, any more council comment? Councilmember Reiner?
I just, again, want to say, I'm all for what Domestic Harmony does, and I'm okay with us contracting with them. I just want numbers so that way maybe other townships and cities will, help pitch into a little bit more to provide more of a service for the Domestic Harmony. It shouldn't just be on the backs of the city of Hillsdale. So so I'm glad you ladies came today and gave us some stats on that. Hopefully we'll put some pressure on some other townships and cities for you guys so they can pitch in too, and help you guys out. And then also too, want to say thank you to Michelle for stepping in as deputy clerk, and then hopefully we are somehow compensating her for the additional duties.
Councilman Reiner, did you have something, Councilman?
Just for clarification, I'm not a social media guy. I don't read it, I don't look at it, but I've been hearing that there's some rumblings about all of us going to Chicago on business trips and being paid for by whoever. I just want, yeah, I know.
When?
I just want to clarify, the only thing I know of was on October 18th, I and a few citizens did go to Chicago, and the people on that committee, or that went, were all part of nonprofit organizations. And we went and looked at the Wurlitzer organ. We had a nice write-up in the newspaper on the front page, and I made an announcement here at council about what we saw. But for some reason, there seems to be some rumblings out there that we're going on business trips, or we're getting gifts, or whatever. I don't know.
Is that what that's?
I don't know. I'm just trying to clarify, at least from my viewpoint, that's the only trip I've ever taken, but that was all on my own dime. And everybody, even when we went to lunch, we all had our own meal ticket. Nobody, bought anybody else's lunch. But again, everybody that went was on a nonprofit organization looking for, we see an opportunity, can we develop it? Can it grow into something to make downtown viable? It was just a search and, just an informational type of trip, but for some reason the social media's got that twisted, and I just kind of wanted to clarify that, if that's what it is. I don't know. That's the only thing I know what it could have been. But
I haven't seen anything on social media, but I know that we did get an email, all of council,
Yeah,
earlier
and
today that made some comments about gifts. So, Councilman Morrissey.
Last week I went to Handmade and had a sandwich, but I paid for it.
Did you pay the full price?
Free food?
No, sorry.
Can I quote that, Will?
Well, you're just not flexing your authority very well.
I say.
I was gonna say, the only time I get free food is on Veterans Day. I'm a veteran. Other than that, no.
And I had to come to City Hall and talk to Michelle and a few other people, but my property taxes were readjusted. So, and not, yeah, yeah, so.
They all went up.
I asked for a city councilman's discount, and they didn't know what I was talking about, so.
Any more comments, guys?
Motion
Ladies?
to adjourn?
Second.
Motion on the floor from Councilman Briner, seconded by Councilwoman Pratt to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting's adjourned.
We're sitting on